Bless the name of the Lord, saints of the Most High. This is Apostle Michael Davis Jr., the senior pastor of the New Testament Believers Fellowship Church, coming to you live and direct. Again. One more again. I'm coming again with part 2 of the games that church people play. So, I sat down and pondered and asked God what to say, and He gave me 20 different things to mention in this video that even brings things together from the first video, and then brings and sheds more light on the other things regarding this matter. Well, the first thing on the top of the list, and this is the thing that always gets the pastors and the preachers in trouble. This is called pastoral counseling gone wrong. So, we know within recent years, you've had a lot of pastors in scandals. Scandals with sexual scandals at that. And if it wasn't sex, it was with the money. My grandfather, the late Apostle Cleophas Hall Sr., used to always tell me before I came into the ministry back in the mid-90s, he used to always tell me, he said, son, he said, there's two things that the preacher, pastor should never really get involved with in the church to keep their hands clean. And I said, well, Granddaddy, what is that? And he said, the pastor should not be involved with the women or the money of the church, because both can corrupt him. And, being a pastor for over 9 years, going on my 10th year, this coming February of 2021, I've seen exactly in detail as to what my grandfather was talking about back in the mid-90s when he had that conversation across that table with me. So when I talk about the pastoral counseling going wrong, this can always start as something innocent, where the pastor will have women or men in his office, and the conversations turn from regular spiritual matters and end up something unsavory, such as a sexual matter. This is ways that people always get caught up. One of my cousins, who's also a assistant pastor of my great grandfather's church, told me years ago. He said one of the things that I had to do when I got into the ministry, especially, he said I had to get my sexual appetite under control. And a lot of these pastors out here, if they had not got their sexual appetite under control, then of course it's out of control, and then they're gonna slip up somewhere. So it's just like this. Pastor, apostle, bishop, you gotta have a good relationship with your wife out there. You got to. You gotta have a good relationship with your wife, and you gotta make sure sex in the marriage is good and very pleasant, and that you and your wife are in congruency with each other, and that y'all not defrauding one another as it speaks in the scriptures. Because when people defraud one another, in other words, wife get mad, said, I ain't give you no poom poom, you ain't getting none, and close up on them. What does that do for the man? That makes the man say, okay, if I can't get none for my wife, where am I gonna go get it from? Well, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to have to go get it from somewhere. They can't sit there and play with themselves and be masturbating. So what does that force them to do? Cheat. And conversely, on the opposite side, with the women get bored with their husbands if their husband does not mentally stimulate them and keep them on the place where they have their mind. So pastors that are men, if you don't have your wife's mind, you don't have her mind to where, she loves you and loves the ground that you walk on and loves everything about you and adores you as a man, as a prince of a man, a king, then Houston, we got a problem. Then that means it will make your ministry ineffective, of null effect, especially when you do counseling with couples. Your stuff got to be straight too as a pastor with your wife before you can tell anybody else what and how to do in the ministry. And I know of many circumstances where pastors didn't have such a good marriage with their mate. And what ended up happening, they cheated on their wives and a split happened and then they married the one whom they cheated with. I know of many circumstances and scenarios of that nature. And it's bad. One of the main things, pastors, that you got to do to make sure your pastoral counseling sessions don't go wrong. Make sure you communicate with your wife. And your wife needs to be in on the counseling sessions with you to protect you. Because if your wife is not there, you can't be protected, then it's your word against the other person's word. And then in the court of law, you don't have nothing to stand on, not a leg to stand on without witnesses. So your wife is your covering, to cover you, to keep you out of entanglements, as they say online, entanglements. So, I want you to understand, people of God, pastoral counseling going wrong, that's a big thing. That can destabilize the ministry. That can mess up the church.